Hi guys, go and check out Between the Stripes this week. You'll see that some of my predictions are on there. You can follow them on Spotify if you type in Between the Stripes and check them out on Twitter as well. You could find the link to the show there. I've just have a graphic up here showing you what they're going to be talking about in their pod this week as well. So check that out, guys. Onto the video. Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another Premier Division prediction show. Last week I won by 4 points to two. The only correct result was, or scoreline I should say, JP, was the Sligo Derry one, which you won't be too happy with at the Brandywell. But that has me in 154 and JP's on 146. So we're obviously still very, very close. And it's nearly as close as the title race, JP, because it's amazing, really, isn't it? We'll get into the games in a minute, but it's another unbelievable weekend. Every fixture, like you're looking at it, and it's mouthwatering for some reason, you know. Six teams mathematically can still win the league, which is ridiculous, by the way, with only 3 games to go. Like, who would have thought that? It's just incredible. But the first game up we'll talk about is Drogheda United and Shamrock Rovers at United Park, or Weavers Park, obviously it's called these days. And look, I can say this for all the games. It's another massive game, isn't it? In fairness, Drogheda are still in that position where obviously they're still ahead of Dundalk. I think it's only a matter of time, really, when Dundalk get relegated. We'll talk about them later. But they're 4 points behind Bohemians, and this is a difficult fixture for Drogheda. There's no doubt about it. But you do feel as though, isn't it a must win? I don't know if it's a must win necessarily, because obviously it depends on the Bowls result on Saturday against Sligo Rovers. But they need to start. They need to win. Arguably, I would suggest 2 of their last 3 games. Drogheda United. What are your thoughts there?
Well, they're 4 points behind Bohemians, so they obviously have to pick up something in their next 2 games. For Derry and Shelbourne, this is probably the one game where they're looking at and thinking this is the game where Shamrock Rovers could drop points. Rovers have Dundalk and Waterford,
They
so
do have Dundalk and Waterford. They just have Dundalk and Waterford.
yeah,
That's what it is.
yeah.
Just the
So
reverse way. So yeah, you're
yeah,
right. On paper, they're probably the easiest 3 fixtures. Like, it's no offense to those clubs. Just on paper,
yeah,
you would say that. Like,
yeah, yeah. And this is probably from a Derry and Shelbourne perspective, this is probably the one game that you're looking at and thinking that Shamrock Rovers could drop points. For Drogheda, they'll see that they've an opportunity to put a bit of pressure on Bohemians, because they don't play this Saturday. If they can get something out of this or sneak a win, um, they will see that. Then they will look at that Dundalk game, as absolute massive for them. But I think what Drogheda's aim will be to get to that Dundalk game and have a chance of getting out of it. Um, because if they get to that point in the season, you would probably fancy Drogheda they win, and then I'm not quite sure who Bows have
Galway
them.
United.
So there you go. So um, so that'll be the aim for Drogheda, but they'll know that they do that, they have to get something from one of the next 2 fixtures. They've a good record against Shamrock Rovers, I think, at home. They tend to pick up
Mhm.
points against Shamrock Rovers in every
Generally, yeah,
season.
this season now they did lose 2-0 at home to Shamrock Rovers, but they did get a point at Tal Stadium. But their
Yeah,
home form has been quite good this season, regardless whether it's Shamrock Rovers or not. Isn't that the
yeah,
point? And obviously, we
yeah,
talked about the improvements in the side in the last, since the win, though, really. And, they're a different kettle of fish now. Rovers, though, as you said, like, they come into it. Think Trevor Clark is only injured at the moment.
yeah.
And do you know what else is an interesting factor here? We talked about when the European game started up again that Rovers might struggle a bit. But they've had a home game and they're going to learn. They don't have to travel as such.
I think I think it was the way that the new structure has fallen for them as well, Keith.
Has
If
worked
it had
well.
been if it had been under the old format, they would have started in the middle of September.
Yeah.
They didn't. They started in the start of October. They had a home game. Then they're only traveling up a road. They learn it may as well be a league game to Derry, basically. So in terms of travel wise, well, it's when I say league game to Derry, it's actually closer.
Closer.
So yeah, it has been absolutely favourable for them. I'm sure Shamrock Rovers and Stephen Bradley probably can't quite believe that they're still in the title race at this stage, considering that the season that they've had.
And the amazing
Um,
thing is, JP, I mentioned the last show there with Sean, is that it's not as if Shamrock Rovers, like we thought Rovers could get back into the race maybe, but we thought they'd need to go on a run of, say, winning 7 or 8 matches in a row or something.
mm,
It's not, they've been in decent form, but they
yeah,
haven't been on, oh my God, here comes a flying Shamrock Rovers up the table form. I
no,
think that's the point. Like,
not. And when you look at it, they lost the Bows, but then they had if they hadn't conceded that last minute penalty to Derry, they would have won four in a row prior to that defeat the Pats. Like so, they would be they would be top of the league right now. And I know Rovers fans won't thank me for reminding them about that, but that's basically where they'll be. But as Brian Kerr also said, if they don't win it, it won't be because of the penalty in Derry. It'll be, you have to look out throughout the season. They lost 3-1 at home to Waterford. They drew twice, I think, at home to Galway. Drew at home to
you're right
Drogheda.
there, yeah, yeah.
And I just don't see how Shamrock Rovers don't want it from here, to be honest with you, Keith. And
Mm.
that's like if Derry have Dundalk, Pats, and Shelbourne. I think if Derry didn't have that Pats game, I would probably maybe be a wee bit more confident that we could still do it. But I think when you look, I'm going to say it now, if Shamrock Rovers won on Friday night, I think they pick up 6 points in their last two
I'm the
games.
same. I think I
I
think I
think,
think this Friday from a Shamrock Rovers point of view is actually crucial, I think,
yeah.
from their
I
point.
think if Derry or Shelbourne aren't going to win it, I think it's going to be based on results this Friday.
Mm.
And the key result for me will be the one at Weavers Park. So
Predictions,
yeah,
JP? I'll let you go first with this one.
I going first on it. Um, I think Rovers will now smell an opportunity. I think if if Derry had a picked up 6 points over the last weekend and their two games in hand, not saying Rovers would have given up, but they would have taken their eye off it a wee bit. Concentrated and maybe getting enough points on the board in Europe. They maybe get in the knockout stages. But I think now that they will be fully focused on this game compared to what they might have been. I think Drogheda will still make it tough for them, but I think Rovers are coming out with three
Mm.
points, and I'm going to say 2-1 Shamrock Rovers.
I thought you were going to go with my one. My one is 1-0 Shamrock Rovers. But we're thinking of similar lines there, to be fair, I think. The next one is at Oriel Park where Dundalk take on Derry City. Feels like Dundalk haven't played in ages, by the way. Maybe they haven't in a couple of weeks as well. But look, this is a massive game for both clubs. Obviously, Derry are still
4th
in
of,
that
4th of October they played.
4th of October.
Semi-final
Yeah,
week.
it's a long time, and it almost feels like they're waiting, and look, it's a horrible situation they're in, but like I don't know how to get out of it. I mean, this game against Derry City, obviously Derry City dropped 2 points or dropped the two home games in terms of drawing the two games last time out, but they're still in the hunt and they'll see this as a must win. There's no doubt about it at Oriel Park. But, Dundalk are in big, big trouble here and, they could go down if they're beaten here against Derry City. And
Well, it's basically they will go down unless they win.
yeah,
Simple as that.
exactly. Yeah.
Um,
And even
so
at that, if Drogheda do get a win against Rovers, they're done anyway. They have to win the game.
yeah,
It's as simple
yeah,
as
they
that.
have to win the
Dundalk have to
game.
go and they have to go for it actually. And that might, I know that sounds weird, but it might actually suit Derry a little bit if you
Yeah,
know
it could because Dundalk then welcome Shamrock Rovers next week, so it's not getting any easier for them.
yeah, even the fixtures alone, you're kind of going.
As I said, as I said about Drogheda, their aim is to get the final game against um Dundalk and basically be within touching distance of Bohemians, where a win will could potentially bring them out. And right now, that's what Dundalk will be thinking of. If we can get ourselves to within 3 points of or 2 points of Drogheda come that game, and a win gets us out of it. That's basically what Dundalk look. They'll be looking at the two fixtures, two home games. They will be looking. It's very tough against two teams that are going for the league title.
The
Um,
most confident of the Dundalk fan probably is a bit pessimistic about the situation, to be honest. Like,
yeah, and look, they've. I was just looking at their fixtures there.
mm.
That late goal from Owen Kenny in the last game, stopped a run of
Mm,
5 defeats in a row.
mm.
Before that, the last game they hadn't lost was Derry in the Brandywell, surprisingly.
The
Um,
only interesting point about this
the
game,
last time
have
the last, sorry, Keith, the last
no,
time
go
they've
on.
won was in July against Drogheda.
Mm,
So it's hard to see where they're going to pick up
mm.
3 wins from.
I suppose an interesting point about this fixture, they have drawn twice this season. I think Derry beat them as well, the Brandywell, didn't they? Am I right there? 4-1.
Derry beat them comfortably, yeah, and then Stephen O'Donnell got the sack shortly after. Uh,
Um,
we played 0-0 in John Daly's first game, and it was one each in August in the
that's
Brandywell
right.
where
Yeah.
they got they took a lead with a good goal, and then Derry equalised and had chances to win it as well, similar to um the Bows game and Sligo game. I think our last four Derry's last four home games have been 1-1 draws, and they came from behind in all four. So
Mm,
that's disappointing.
mm,
But yeah, Dundalk, as I said, like they're on a run of they went on a run of 5 defeats in a row. I think they there's 7 games where they've only picked up 2 points. So it's hard to see where they're going to get nine points from, especially when they've got Derry and Shamrock Rovers. But
they have to win it, like, as
they
I said
have to, they
before.
have to, and as you say,
Mm,
Dundalk have to win it. They'll come out.
Or will
Um,
they? Because you'd wonder with John Daly sometimes, will he say, let's sit in and keep it tight and try and work ourselves into the game and nick it 1-0?
yeah,
He
he
could
could do
think
that.
that.
He could
He
do
could
that
think
there.
that, yeah.
Derry could take the same approach as he did against Bows in the Cup and let them have the ball for the first 20 minutes and see what they can do, and then just turn the game as in Derry did that night. So it'll be an interesting one. But I remember going down here similar time last year, and we won 3-1, and Brian Maher got man of match.
Mm.
So it was quite an interesting night that night because Brian Maher was outstanding.
I
Derry
think
won the
what's
game.
interesting here, JP, as well, actually, in fairness, is the fact that Hooben's out, so there's no Hooben getting a winner and putting Dundalk down, which would be a bit strange, I would suggest, like
It
for
could be
him.
a Mickey Duffy type scenario or Wall Patchen or
Yeah. There
but
is a
I
few
think
players, but Hooben obviously, you know what I mean? He has that, he's the highest score at the club and all that kind of thing, Dundalk of all time and all that stuff. So that's not going to happen, at least,
yeah,
I
and
suppose. But
as,
it's
as a as a Dundalk fan, it would probably be you'd probably be even more sickening. And as a Derry fan, as much as if it was a last minute winner from Pat Hoban, they send us top of the league or whatever, or keep us in the title race, you're going to take it all day long. And
oh yeah.
unfortunately, when you sell players to clubs in your own league, um, you've got to run the risk of they're going to maybe score big goals against you that could cost you. And we've seen it in our time at Derry. Like we've lost the likes of Michael Linney and stuff to Dundalk, and they've came back and scored goals that have maybe sucker punched us and performed brilliantly against us. Like I think Mickey Duffy scored a hat trick one time in the Brandywell. He
Mm.
scored two anyway. So, but at the end of the day, that was their club. They had to go out and perform for their club, and nobody can begrudge them that. And I don't think any Dundalk fan would have begrudged Pat Hoban if he'd went out and scored the goal that sent them down. But for Derry, they just have to win this game, Keith. I know I've been saying that for the last 3 or 4 weeks, but they have to. It's simple now. It's win your next 3 games and you could be champions of Ireland, and that's basically the situation that they're in. Um,
Mm.
they've won 1 and 9, I think.
Mm.
Can they win 1 and 3? You don't know, but you've won 1 and 9, which is the one against Waterford. But the most crucial one now is trying to get the win against Dundalk. Um, and once you get, as I say, once you get one win, it can lead on to another, and you never know where this one could lead. Like going into last week's fixtures, it was all in Derry's hands. Now it's no longer in Derry's hands. Well, it still technically is in Derry's hands, but not the way they would have wanted. But it's must win. It's definitely must win this time. I know Rory said about the Sligo game wasn't must win, but this Dundalk game is definitely must win.
Oh no, this is a definite must win, as I say. And as such, I'm going 2-0 Derry City, JP. And unfortunately, that'll be end for the end for Dundalk. Well,
Yeah, well,
hopefully the end for Dundalk is in just to the first division, if you like. But yeah,
yeah, rather than completely. On Monday night, Tuesday night, I wasn't entirely confident that we were going to go down here and beat Dundalk. I just thought there was no urgency about us in the two games against Bows and Sligo. Um, Apart from maybe 10, 15 minutes in the second half, we did miss big chances in both games. And I just don't know how can you go from that day then suddenly turn flicking the switch and going and win three in a row. But it'd be interesting to see if we can. Um, I know Rory started with the same 11 that went out against, well, minus Ben Doherty. Came call coming on for Ben Doherty. He went with the old 10 was similar. He made quite a few changes at half time, not surprisingly on Monday night. Colin Whelan, Danny Mullen done really well when they played together on Monday night. Sean Robertson looks to be a bit of a player, but can't seem to get a run. He only seems to be getting 5, 10 minutes. Will he ring the changes drastically to see if he can get a performance going? Um, Never mind a result. I don't know. So I'm not confident that we're going to win the game, but I'm still going to predict us they won 1-0.
Right, Shelbourne and Waterford at Talca Park, and I think this break arguably might well we'll find out, won't we? I think the break might have helped Shelbourne a little bit actually, just to kind of reevaluate and simply take a mental break more than anything. They go into the game 1 win and 10. Waterford have 1 win in their last 5 games, and to be honest, look like a team whose season is petering out. Now, from their point of view, I still it is a good season. It's just the way it finished. You know what I mean? Like if you said to someone from Waterford, seventh at the start of the season, obviously away you're up, you're staying up with a couple of games to go, they would have taken it. But it has petered out a little bit from the position they were in. I think we're talking about Rovers and winning games and Derry must win, etc. Probably a must win now for Shelbourne as well, because if they can't beat Waterford at home, a team that their performances have really petered out, JP, to be honest, the last few weeks as well. If Shelbourne can't win that game, it's very difficult to see them winning this league. And also, it's highly unlikely, I would suggest, and we've said this before, but that Derry and Rovers, that at least one of them won't win this weekend, in my view. So, interesting game. Sean Boyd, for me, probably comes in for Shelbourne. I still think he's a major threat for them. He gives them a plan B, someone you can cross, almost fling the ball into, and he can get you out of trouble as such with a header or, you know what I mean? He hovers in around that 6 yard box, good at holding the play up. I think they'll need him. Um, their games, as you expect, were tight this season. Shelbourne won 2 games 1-0, and the other one was 1-1, which was the opening day of the season at the RSC. So I do expect a tight game, but how are you seeing this one?
Well, I see it as a tight game, and I just see the situation as in whoever doesn't win this weekend between Shelbourne, Derry, and Shamrock Rovers won't win the league.
Providing they don't all not win.
Well, yeah. You
Because
could have
that
that
it nearly
situation as
wouldn't
well.
shock me, JP, the way the season's
It
going. Could you
would
imagine?
it wouldn't shock me. Well, basically, I think if one of them don't win,
Yeah.
I don't, I think that's it gone for whoever it is. If one of the other two win, I think
Fair
they'll
enough.
probably go on to win the league. Is how I see it. Um, Again, Shelbourne similar situation, the Derry, um, one win in some like 9 or 10 games. You, you find it hard to see how they're going to be able to flick a switch and just go and win the 3 games and win the league. But as I said about Drogheda wanting to get to the last game of the season against Dundalk and have Bows within a hair's a hair's breadth of them, Shelbourne will want to do the same, as in terms of going to Brandywell, knowing that you won the game, you won the league. And similar for Derry, Shamrock Rovers know that that situation's out of their hands because of if Derry and Shelbourne both pick up 6 points in the next 2 games, then Shamrock Rovers need the last game to be a draw or they won heavily against was it Dundalk, which you could imagine that if they went into that game needing to win 6-0, they stand a chance. Shamrock Rovers
Is
probably
it the
would.
last day of the season you're talking about, JP? Is it?
Yeah,
Shamrock
yeah.
Rovers have Waterford at home and Tallinn the last day of the season.
Waterford.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So basically, and even still, if Shamrock Rovers had to go into that last game at home,
Mhm.
needing to win big, you would fairly count themselves that they could probably
They're
the
the
one
side
team
with
in the
literally nothing to play for.
league that they could do it. Like
By the way,
so,
Waterford are the only team this weekend who've literally nothing to play for, incidentally.
yeah, yeah. And that's it's quite astonishing for this late
It's
stage in the
great,
season.
really, but yeah.
It is. It's great for the whole league. Um, as in terms of a neutral, so the title race is great for anybody not involved in it. The relegation race is good for anybody not involved in
European
it,
race.
similar to the European race. So, um, yeah. So, look, Shelbourne, is this my call or yours?
You're first on this one, yeah. Yeah, you're first.
You touched on it there. Waterford don't have anything to play for. Shelbourne do. Where are their goals coming from? We've been asking that since the summer. Can they find? Because I think if Shelbourne scored in this game, they won the game,
Mm. If
basically.
they score first, they certainly win
Yeah,
the game.
I
Because
think Waterford they've gone to Tallinn won this season, so there's no reason why they can't win it. Toka Park, but Rovers or sorry Shelbourne are a different animal when it comes to Shamrock Rovers. Shamrock Rovers kind of open it up, which kind of suits Waterford a wee bit, and
plus
Shelbourne.
Waterford were flying at that point of the season form
Yeah,
wise.
they were. Um, Look, I'm going to say 1-0 Shelbourne. I think all three teams this weekend are going to win. I'm going to say 1-0 Shelbourne.
And which as well, I have all three teams to win, but for some bizarre reason, I've gone for 2-1 Shelbourne because, as you say, like this would be like a classic between these two if there were three goals in the game, like you know what I mean. But yeah, I'll go for that. At Richmond Park, then you have fourth and fifth in the table, St Patrick's Leg and Galway United, both level on 50 points. Pats with a goal difference of +5 over Galway. Pats have obviously won six in a row at this point. Galway Pats are the only team that Galway haven't beaten this season yet. To be fair, they've had two defeats against Pats and a draw. An interesting game. Obviously, Pats in the back of those three away Dublin derbies where they got 9 points, JP, and they'll be flying with confidence. I think there's no doubt about that. And Galway, they've been excellent this season. Only scored 29 goals, which is mad still, but they've been excellent this season. They look to make this very difficult for Pats. I think from Caulfield's point of view, he probably thinks to himself, get through the first 20 minutes without conceding and see if we can work ourselves into the game. But yeah, really interesting game at Richmond Park. It's my call in this one, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'll just throw my result out there because I don't know. It's the way Pats are playing. They didn't play brilliant against Bowls, to be honest with you, but the 2 week break might have helped them there. But I think they'll bring a bit of momentum into this game on Friday. And whoever wins this, by the way, um, is definitely favourites for the fourth place. And obviously, whoever wins, my fancy they could take advantage of any slip up from the top three and avoid even getting fourth, so to speak, and getting into Europe outright. So that's a card for both teams, I think, as well. A draw would probably do none of them any favours, but I'll go for Pats to win this 2-0, JP, and keep that
yeah,
run going.
yeah. You would think that out of the two of them, the one most likely they put somebody in the top three is Pats. I think if Galway were to win it, probably be a wee bit less confident that they could sneak into the top three. But with the run format that some Pats are on, you would think that they're more than capable of pipping somebody in the top three, especially when they play Derry the following week.
Mm.
Um,
Especially the
and
fact that I know we've gone for all the top three to win this week, but we may not be right there. So if Pats were
yeah,
to
I was
win,
just
one of
about
them
to
were to
say
slip
that.
up.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, especially if there's a slip up in
Mm.
one of the other three, and more especially Derry because they play them the following week. So that'll be the incentive for Pats. But
Mm.
if all three slip up and some Pats were to win, like you
They're
wouldn't bet
actually
against
in that's bang in the title race all
yeah,
of a sudden with two games to go.
you wouldn't bet against Stephen Kenny masterminding another title win from absolutely nowhere.
It would be
And that
crazy if somehow
and
they did eclipse the three and went on and won the league, though, wouldn't it? In
it
fairness.
wouldn't be, it would be, but it wouldn't be surprising either the way the league is going. Like, and this is not just from when he was appointed in what was it May. This is from August
Yeah.
because they weren't playing.
Mm.
We could
Pretty much
see
since the European games, isn't it? They kind of started to get
we
into
could see
full
them
flow.
making.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could see the makings of a Stephen Kenny team, but it really started to come to light in the European
Mm,
games. And if they went on to win this game, it would not surprise me if any of the other three
mm.
drop points that they would pip them to third.
Mind you,
Um,
JP, if anyone was going to stop Pats' run, like of win and run, it'd nearly be typically Galway, wouldn't it?
it would be John Caulfield and Stephen Kenny's old rivalry renewed. I know John wasn't happy at Owen scoring the equaliser a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, so I think Stephen has Owen to thank for the fact that he's sitting in fourth at the minute because he'd be going into his game 2 points behind Galway. So yeah, intriguing game this again. I think as I say, Pats are on a winning run of six. That's going to come to an end. You would think at some point. I'm going to stick. I'm going to go 2-0 Pats. I think Pats are such good momentum now. They
Mm.
they can smell that third place. If not, they can see that third place. They can smell that title race, and they're going to put pressure on the top three. So I'm going to go 2-0 Pats.
It's going to be a really interesting weekend when all's said and done, though. Finally, on Saturday, Sligo Rovers take on Bohemians, and Sligo mathematically can still win this league. They're certainly in the European race, and they'll be looking at. They'll obviously know the results, won't they? They'd be kind of going if Pats and Sligo could draw, and we could win.
Pats and Galway.
I think, sorry, Pats and Galway draw and we could win. Now we're level with the two of them. One interesting facet here, or fact, is though that Sligo's goal difference, JP, is well behind. Like they're -7. Galway are on
Yeah, and
+5, Pats are on +10. So they're going to
yeah,
have to
and that's
finish
when you
above.
factor in the 7-0 drubbing at Weaver's Park.
That's killed them there, hasn't it? And even at that, they'll put them just on, zero. So they'd
Yeah,
still be a good bit behind anyway. But they've had a few drubbings. They're weird like that. They've had 4-0 defeats and stuff. So that kills them a little bit. That puts them at a big disadvantage when it's so tight, in my opinion. But the game against Bows, look, they'll be looking at saying they have to try and win this game. Ellis Chapman is out. I think he could be out till the end of the season, so he's a massive loss for them. Ross Tierney's out for Bowes. The Devoy will play, by the way. There was a bit of talk he might have been suspended. He's actually not suspended. He's available. And Bowes, we've said it a million times, seem to do better away from home than they do at home. It's an interesting game.
Sligo 3-0 earlier in the season down there.
What didn't they? That was one of their big performances, winning away to Sligo earlier on in the season. But Sligo, interestingly, Bowes will know the result, won't they, from the Drogheda game as well? So you'd wonder if
Yeah,
Drogheda were to get somehow, say they beat Shamrock Rovers, how Bowes would react to that. So there's big sides to this in terms of the results that are going to be there before these two teams meet. But Sligo have to look at this situation even regardless of the results and kind of go home to Bowes. We want to get into Europe anyway. This is probably a must win for us. In their heads, they're probably thinking that.
yeah. Right now, every fixture has something to play for, but come Saturday night, this fixture could be a bit immaterial, depending on the results come Friday. Say Drogheda don't win and the top three, top four all win, take Sligo out of the equation.
Big gap.
There's a big gap, and then
5 points would be a massive gap with 2 games to
yeah,
go, even. Although they do play Pats in the last day of the season, which could be interesting, but they'd have to
yeah,
be close.
yeah, they would. So yeah, look, Sligo done played really well on Monday night.
Mm,
They're far probably created the better chances, probably more chances.
mm.
They were quite impressive, especially in the tight areas. They managed to get them within three passes. They seemed to be in the halfway line.
That Henry
Uh,
Francis fella looks a decent player, and I'm not sure if they
he
can
is
get pick him up for
unbelievable.
next season. That's the only issue
He,
there. He's in loan.
he's on loan from Arsenal. I think he's unbelievable player.
Mm,
Great talent. Definitely ran the Derry midfield ragged on Monday night. I think Chapman got a really bad injury.
mm,
I know Sligo fans are unhappy with the pitch, but so are we. We're unhappy with the pitch as well. They were really impressive. Unbelievable strike from Connor Malley there.
oh yeah.
But once it popped up, there was only one thing Connor Malley was going to do, and that was hit a strike, and he caught it sweet as a nut. And I was just sat right behind it. I knew right away where it was heading.
It's
Um,
one of those nearly if you see and you're an opposing fan, and even though you're kind of going, what a goal, like.
yeah,
It's one of
yeah,
those
and
scenarios.
they were brilliant, Keith, on
Mm,
I'm not when I say counter attack, I'm not saying that they were
Mm.
playing counter attack in football, but
No, but they are at times. You're right.
they
At
are
times,
they
they're
are
one of the
really
best
good counter
counter-attacking
attack.
teams in the league. Like they're very good
And
counter-attacking.
and Roy Higgins pointed that out at the start of, at the end of the game, and Derry couldn't handle him, and I think Bulls won't be able to handle him on Friday night either, and I'm going to, or sorry, Saturday night, and I'm
Yeah.
going to say 2-1 Sligo.
Yeah, the thing is with Bowes is I've seen them very closely again on Monday night, yeah,
Friday.
against Pats, and they were very good in the first half. This is the funny thing. They were very good. The intensity, they were right at it. They were in Pats' faces. Pats struggled to get out with the ball. They created chances. They missed the penalty. Breslin made a heroic clearance off the line. Gravossi cleared one off the line. But you got to take their chances. Like, if you don't take your chances, usually, as we know in this league, you do end up being punished. And you can't dominate. And we've seen it this year. No team can really dominate any team, really, for 90 minutes. So you have to take your opportunities. But if they're, I know it's an if and but again, but if they could bring some of that into the Sligo game and take their chances, like, they haven't got a striker, it's a killer, but it's not just the striker, it's other players in the team. The striker doesn't get every chance, if you like, you know what I mean?
No.
It doesn't, yourself in football, midfielders, attackers. This wasn't a case of if they had a striker that would have beaten Pats. The missed chances were obviously a penalty miss for a start, and the one cleared off the line, and the other one was cleared off the line was a Ross Tierney header. So no striker actually had a chance. Maybe that's a problem in itself, but they did play well. There were good things in the game, but they did fall apart a little bit in the second half. Now Tierney gets sent off, but you always felt that there was a rocket from Kenny coming at half time. But once the first goal goes in, they did fall apart a bit and look deflated. So that's what's going to be key in this game, I think. If Sligo Rovers get the first goal, it's very difficult to see Bowes get something out of the game. But for some reason, I just have this weird feeling that Bowes might get something out of the game. Probably because they're away from home. But yeah, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. So yeah, I think that's probably the only one we have different. I think JP this week. That's
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
interesting thing. So I had to get one in different. Now I have them written down anyway. But we'll leave it there anyway. JP, brilliant. Thanks for coming on as usual. Guys at home, let us know what
No
you
bother.
think in general. Throw us a few predictions and best of luck. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you.
Cheers, Keith.
Lovely jubbly. Thanks very much, JP. That was excellent.